Ugh, I've got Switch 2 fever. That was great. That was a great opening. Okay. It seems like, finally, a Switch 2 announcement is imminent. And let me tell you, I am a sucker for rumors and reports. Basically in general, but especially on new hardware. And especially with the Switch 2, which it feels like we've been hearing about for years now. Back in the day when it was a rumored Switch Pro, and now when it seems like it's gonna be a new console from Nintendo, I feel like every day we get a new leak or report about this stupid system. I just want it to be announced so we can see it and not have to speculate all the time. But while we're here, why don't we speculate a little bit? I've wanted to talk about the Switch 2 for a while, but I haven't been able to figure out how I wanted to talk about it because I don't really have fun just talking about rumors and leaks, because sometime in the future, whether it be a few weeks or God forbid a few months, those leaks will either be true or false. I wanted to do something different. So I wanted to dive headfirst into speculation and not try to predict the console Nintendo will release, but rather the games. So in this video, I'm gonna try and predict the launch year lineup for the Nintendo Switch 2. Before we get into it, sorry about this.
Oh, hell no, man.
I'm trying something new, work in progress. Perhaps by the next video, I'll have a full beard. We'll see. Oh my God. What was that? Also, before we get into it, this is just for fun. I obviously have no idea what Nintendo is gonna do, but I thought it would be a fun exercise to look back at the first year of the Switch and try to predict what could happen next year when I think the Switch 2 will launch. I'm also going to give a name to each of these games, so that should be fun. Imagine if I got that right, like I got the name of the 3D Mario right, that'd be insane. Without further ado, let's take a look back at what Nintendo released in 2017. No way I was going to memorize this, so I'm pulling it up. So the crazy thing about Nintendo in 2017 is that they released like a gazillion games. If you recall, they were not only releasing games for their new Switch, but they were also releasing games for the 3DS. So this lineup right here is absurd. I'm gonna go through the Switch games and then the 3DS games. So in the Switch's first year, the console launched, of course, with Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch. Then on April 28th, we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. June 16th, we got ARMS. July 21st, Splatoon 2. August 29th, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. September 22nd, Pokken Tournament DX. October 20th, Fire Emblem Warriors. October 27th, Odyssey came out. December 1st, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. February 9th, we got Dragon Quest Builders, if you want to count that. And then February 16th, Bayonetta 1 and 2 got ported over. Also, I'm using North American release dates for these. The Japanese release dates are way different. Can you believe just a few years ago we were having games released at different times in different regions? That feels like something of a bygone era. 3DS releases. On March 24th, just a few weeks after the Switch launched, we got Mario Sports Superstars. May 19th, we got Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. June 23rd, we got Ever Oasis, again, if you want to count that. July 28th, we got Hey Pikmin, which is a fan favorite, obviously. September 15th, we got Metroid Samus Returns. October 6th, we got Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. November 10th, we got another fan favorite, Mario Party The Top 100. The 17th of November, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out. And then January 19th, we got Kirby Battle Royale here in the States. That's a lot, right? That is a mega ton of releases. And just, you know, a spoiler here, I don't think there's going to be that many releases in that first year for the Switch 2 and, you know, the Switch games that come with it. Is there like a band playing outside? I kid you not. Someone's like practicing their violin out there. Where was I? So I do think while there won't be as many games that come out in the Switch 2's launch year, I do think we can look at what Nintendo did in 2017 and kind of compare it to what could happen in 2025. We're going to get a big launch game like Breath of the Wild. We'll probably get a big game in the middle of the year like Splatoon 2. And then we'll get a big holiday game like Mario Odyssey. And then interspersed between there's going to be some games that are Switch games that obviously you can also probably play on the Switch 2, assuming it's backwards compatible, and there's going to be some other minor releases on the Switch 2. Dude, I can't get over the violin. It's what I'm hearing right now, or I'm going insane. That's possible. I could just be hearing things. I mean, it's very beautiful, but it's distracting me. How's it making that much noise? I gotta just lock in and stop thinking about the violin. But I'm thinking about the violin. So first we need to figure out when the Switch 2 is launching. My prediction, I think April 2nd. Remember, Nintendo releases stuff on Thursdays now, not Fridays for whatever odd reason. So that would be a month after the Switch launched, right? Switch launched March 3rd. Switch 2 is going to launch April 2nd, I think, which means we have to predict April 2nd, 2025 to April 2nd, 2026. Let's do it. The first question is, what is the launch lineup game going to be for the Switch? And I think it's going to be a 3D Mario, because it has to be. If this console launches on April 2nd, like I think it will, it'll have been 8 years between 3D Mario games. That is insane. That is the longest gap I think we've ever had to wait for a 3D Mario. Part of me does think 3D Mario makes more sense as the holiday game, but just because we've had to wait so long, it has to be the launch title, right? And I think that is very much a worthy launch title for the Switch 2. It would sell systems, it would get people excited for the Switch 2. It would get me excited because I really want a new 3D Mario game. Man, it is just the day of noises, huh? I think it's going to be called Super Mario Universe. I don't know. I couldn't think of a name. Super Mario Universe is launching April 2nd, but the Switch launched with another Nintendo published game in 2017, and that was 1-2 Switch. So what's the off-the-wall, oddball game they're going to launch the system with alongside the 3D Mario? I think it's Tomodachi Life 2. We got Miitopia a few years back. It feels like about time to bring over Tomodachi Life, or, like I think, make a sequel to it. I don't know if having a more powerful console would make Tomodachi Life cooler. I don't know if the AI or whatever that Tomodachi Life used would be stronger in a Switch 2. I'm not the tech guy, but I think it would make a lot of sense as kind of that oddball release. Tomodachi Life did actually sell a lot on the 3DS, so maybe it's too big of a game. Maybe it's clashing with 3D Mario, but I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense. It would get people excited as well. My Roku turned off. I had a nice fall background there. Wait a second. Well, after the Switch 2's launch games, I've got the Switch 1 getting some love. So April 16th, I've got F-Zero GX HD coming out. And then May 7th, I've got the Fire Emblem 4 remake coming out, which I've named Fire Emblem Echoes Contours of Jugdral. Never played that game, but Google said that's what the setting of the game is, so I named it that. These are two remasters or remakes we've been hearing about forever. So I think they make sense to come out early in the Switch 2's life to give Switch 1 fans who don't yet want to go to the Switch 2 something to play. We know Nintendo's not just going to abandon that install base, even if they want people to switch over to the Switch 2, and even if there is backwards compatibility, meaning that F-Zero GX HD is essentially also a Switch 2 game, because you can play it on your Switch 2, assuming there's backwards compatibility. Back to the Switch 2 releases, though. On June 11th, I've got Kirby and the Vanilla Voodoo coming out. Now, this is a 2D Kirby. I think 2D Kirby makes a lot of sense as kind of a smaller release in the first year of the Switch 2. The last new 3D Kirby came out in 2018, so it will have been 7 years between new 2D Kirbys by the time this one comes out, assuming it comes out in 2025, like I'm predicting. We did get a remake, or I guess a remaster, of a 2D Kirby in 2023, but 7 years between new ones feels like a super long time, so I think we're due. I think it makes sense as kind of a smaller release to pad out the time in between the 3 big releases for the Switch 2's launch year. Oh, and what does Vanilla Voodoo mean? You'll have to wait and find out. I'm kind of proud of that one, though. Vanilla Voodoo, that sounds sick. July 16th, I've got another Switch 2 game, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons had its last update on November 14th, 2022. So I think a 2025 release for the next Animal Crossing makes a lot of sense. And it also makes a lot of sense that Nintendo would want a game like this on the Switch in its first year. If Animal Crossing isn't a tier 1 franchise after how well it sold on the Switch, it's a tier 1A franchise for Nintendo. And I think 5 years in between games, assuming Nintendo prioritized the development of the next Animal Crossing even more after how well it sold, I think 5 years makes sense. I think it makes sense to slot into that Splatoon 2 spot, right? 2017 Splatoon 2 came out in July, and in 2025, I think Animal Crossing is going to come out in July. And it's called Animal Crossing Family Life because you can have a kid. You can have a family and a kid in this Animal Crossing game. Should be interesting. Next up, I've got a few Switch 1 games. So first, Xenoblade Chronicles X coming out on August 20th. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X makes a lot of sense as a Switch 1 game. People have wanted this game for years. I think Monolith Soft has some other stuff cooking, but this would make sense as kind of a smaller release for them. And then on September 10th, I've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond releasing. I think September 10th makes sense for Metroid Prime 4. It gives it space before a big Switch 2 game comes out, in my prediction. I don't think it makes sense as a holiday game, but I think it makes sense as a fall game. So September 10th is the date I settled on. Now we've got some Switch 2 games again. On October 22nd, we're gonna get Mario Kart 10. Just like 3D Mario, it just makes so much sense that we would get a Mario Kart 10 in the first year of the Switch 2. I forgot to mention, next year is the 40th anniversary of Mario, which is kind of going underreported. We're all so like hyper fixated on the Switch 2 that we forgot like, oh yeah, Mario's anniversary is also next year. So I think like what better way to celebrate Mario's 40th anniversary than with a huge 3D Mario and a huge Mario Kart in the same year. I almost predicted Galaxy 2 to come out on the Switch 1, but I thought like that's almost too much for 1 year for Nintendo. Even if it is a big anniversary. But I'm really excited to see what they do with the Mario anniversary because in 2020, it was like nothing because it was COVID and they couldn't really do anything. I think it could be like an epic celebration for Mario's 40th. And hopefully they don't make Mario Kart 10 a limited time release. November 5th, I've got Xenoblade Warriors coming out on the Switch 2. We've already had Fire Emblem Warriors and Hyrule Warriors. I think Xenoblade is the next franchise that makes sense for a Warriors title. And you might say, this makes more sense as a Switch 1 game. But the Warriors games never really ran well on the Switch, so I think this could be a really impressive showing for the Switch 2. If you release a Warriors game and it's 60 frames per second, it looks good. It could be really impressive for the Switch 2 to have a Warriors game, a high quality Warriors game out the gate, kind of like what they had with Fire Emblem Warriors in 2017. And it would also give Xenoblade fans something to be excited about in the first year of the Switch 2, because I don't think Xenoblade 4 is coming anytime soon. I think that is like 2027. So Xenoblade Warriors to tide you over. November 19th, I've got another Switch 1 game, that being Pokemon Legends ZA. We know about this game already, and I think it's like kind of a lock that this game is coming out on November 19th, not to lock anything in, but Pokemon always loves to release games that week before Black Friday, and how did I put these? Oh, I'm in 2028, that's why. Did I f all these up? Oh, I did. No, dude. Just realized I messed up all the dates, so I'll put a little text in the corner, but all the dates should be a day later than they are, because I think they're all on Wednesdays. I don't know how I messed that up. November 20th, that's the right date. I've got Pokemon Legends ZA. Pokemon loves to release games on that week before Black Friday. Just like, it's an easy puzzle piece to fit in. So, well, that's all I have for 2025, but I do have 2 2026 games as well. On February 12th, 2026, I have the last Switch 2 game in the launch year, and that's a new Monolith Soft IP. Now, we've been hearing some rumors about this, that Monolith would have something new prepared for the Switch 2, and obviously that could be Xenoblade 4, but I think Nintendo wants to have a new IP early in the Switch 2's life, and it just makes sense that it would be Monolith Soft to do it. It's been a while since they've done something new. They've done Xenoblade, and they've helped out on other games, but a new IP from them could be super exciting. I think that's gonna come in February. And then, to round out an exciting year for Nintendo, we have a Switch game. March 12th, 2026, I have Yoshi's Woolly World HD coming out. Makes sense as kind of a way to round out the first year of the Switch 2 and the Switch being on the side with the Switch 1 game. Hey, Switch fans, we didn't forget about you. Here's Yoshi's Woolly World HD. I can't believe we haven't gotten that yet. Just feels like such an obvious game to make an HD remaster of. I know they did on the 3DS, but like, come on. So that's what I've got. I'm gonna run through it real quick one time. First, the Switch 2 launch year, and these are gonna have the correct dates because I messed it up. So if you're wondering what exactly I think the dates are gonna be, here they are. All right, in the Switch 2's launch year, I've got Super Mario Universe and Tomodachi Life 2 coming out as launch games on April 3rd. I've got Kirby and the Vanilla Voodoo coming out on June 12th. I've got Animal Crossing Family Life coming out on July 17th. I've got Mario Kart 10 coming out on October 23rd. I've got Xenoblade Warriors coming out on November 6th. And I've got a new Monolith Soft IP coming out on February 12th, 2026. And then for the Switch games coming out in the same window, I've got F-Zero GX HD coming out on April 17th. I've got Fire Emblem Echoes Contours of Jugdraw coming out on May 8th. I've got Xenoblade Chronicles X coming out on August 21st. I've got Metroid Prime 4 Beyond coming out in September 11th. I've got Pokemon Legends ZA coming out on November 20th. And I've got Yoshi's Woolly World HD rounding it out on March 12th, 2026. You might say that that sounds like too stacked of a launch window for the Switch 2, and I kind of thought the same thing, but we've heard that Nintendo pushed back the system to make sure they had the games ready for it. I just think it's going to be a really exciting launch year for the Switch 2. A lot of these games line up to come out in 2025, especially 3D Mario and Mario Kart. And even if not all my predictions are correct, I still think it's going to be a really exciting first year for the Switch 2. And I think we're going to find out very soon because there just has to be an announcement soon, right? It pushed up all this stuff. It has to be an announcement soon, right? It has to be coming imminently. And I'm super excited to finally see this console be revealed. But that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments below, do you agree with my predictions? Drop some of your own as well. Make sure to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel because we've got a lot coming out here this fall. It's going to be an exciting fall for gaming and an exciting fall for this channel. And guess what? This time next week, we could be talking about the Switch 2's reveal. Heck, maybe we get a whole ass direct for the Switch 2 next week. It could happen. And of course, I'm going to be here talking about it whenever it does. With that said, that's all I've got for today. I'll see you guys next time.